Hi, welcome to my final project of CS50's web development app, web development course. The project that I've made is a prototype that I conceptualized for a social enterprise, which has its supply chain in rural Rajasthan and in other parts of rural India. And it basically primarily produces garments and home linen. So before I kind of go any further, I'll just give a quick overview of what the supply chain is like. This is a very simple, basic overview. But basically, I mean, first the fabric is cut, then it goes on to someone who'll do the stitching. Uh, then in some cases there might be some embroidery which is done, and then the final product is finished and it's ready for dispatch to our warehouses. So basically, the logic that I've built in is just simple, like one, two, three, four, kind of just a single number SMSs to be sent to a phone number, and that phone number then will convert this number into something meaningful and then accordingly showcase the data. The goal is for this to be a mobile phone, right? And one of those rudimentary mobile phones where the artisan who's working just has to put in like a status, like a number. And the numbers were actually shown in the keynote earlier on. So two is so when the stitcher, for example, puts 2 in his mobile phone and he sends it to this number, then it's going to tell my database that, hey, look up any product that is allocated to the stitcher and mark it as basically having its stitching started. The admin panel is basically what the people at the warehouse would have, or the people who are actually at the beginning of the supply chain, the people who kind of are uploading the products into the system. So as you can see that, here it gives an SKU along with, we here there's the name of the person who's going to be stitching it, the person who's going to be putting the embroidery, the cost price, as well as the current state. So currently I've just created all new products which have no aging, which have just left the warehouse. And for the sake of this demo, I'm just going to walk you through, let's say, the first product of this. We're going to go through the entire process of this product, from going in transit to getting stitched to getting embroidery done, and then I'll show you how the aging is updated and how the inventory moves, etc. So let's also, I'll show you the other pages so that you can see all of them moving. So right now, as you can see, this is the inventory page. This shows where the money is kind of stuck. Like as you saw in the previous page, I had put a cost price against all of those products. So here it shows that a majority of the money is stuck, 600 rupees is stuck in transit. That's basically because, as you can see in the previous page, all 6 of our products costing 100 rupees each are in transit. So that's why it's showing us 600 in transit. And artisans basically kind of gives you an overview of what the turnaround time for the artisans is. So this is kind of, think of it like, once this data starts getting populated, then you'll know who are the more efficient people in stitching and what is the sort of lead time you can expect in getting the product back from once it reaches these artisans. Okay, so let's do one process. So for the first product that you saw, the first one, cotton kurta small white, which goes to stitcher A, embroider A. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume, so in this exercise, stitcher A's mobile phone number is 111 and the embroiderer's mobile phone is 113. Okay, that's what I've configured in the system. So I'm going to send an SMS from stitcher A's perspective from his phone. So his number is 111. So he sends an SMS too, which signifies that he has started stitching. So once you send it, then what happens is that in my admin panel, you'll get this status gets updated to stitching started, and it gives you the aging. So it says that from the time that you created the product, it's been, of course, it's 8 minutes because I just started this demo, but it's been 8 minutes, and and currently it's at the stitching started phase. If you go to the inventory, you can see that 100 rupees is now in the stitcher's bucket because that product is with him, with that stitcher currently. And in the artisan, you can see that stitcher A has one product in queue. Okay, so now let's say the stitcher finishes this product. So they send an SMS 3, and once that goes in, then you'll see that it says stitching is completed. There's the aging, and the state is still open. Similarly, you can see that now the inventory is gone from the stitcher and it's gone in transit. It's gone back to being in transit because now it's in transit from the stitcher to the embroiderer. Okay, and then the last one is the artisans average turnaround time and the total time to complete has been updated. So now it says, okay, on an average, it takes 40 seconds for this artisan to do this stage. Of course, 40 seconds is too less. In real life, it'll be a lot more, but just because this is real time, I'm showing you this example. That's why it's updated like that. Another thing that this has that I haven't really gotten into is at a product level, you also get to see, what's the product's life cycle been like. So you can see that, okay, currently 50% of the product's life cycle is completed. That means product is half ready. The stitching is completed. It's been 9 minutes since the product was created. And on top of that, it also kind of gives you the product life cycle. It says, okay, it was in transit for 8 minutes of the 9 minutes. It was stitching for 40 seconds. And now it is currently in transit again to get embroidery done. So let's get the embroidery done next, and then we can, um, I guess once after embroidery, then I'll show you how that works out. So now embroidery, when the embroiderer starts the embroidery, he sends a message from his mobile phone, and then it's going to automatically in our admin panel, you can see it says embroidery has been started. And inventory, now the inventory is gone and sat in that person's bucket. So 100 rupees are sitting with embroiderer A. And since we haven't done anything with the rest of the products, the rest of the products are still showing as in transit. Once the embroidery is completed, then the product goes back in transit to the warehouse. And from the warehouse, upon receipt, right? So once the people at the warehouse who have access to the laptops get the product, then they have an option to close the product. So as soon as anything finishes the entire process from stitching to embroidery, then it comes back to the admin's panel, and here they can close the product. Once the product closes, then that's the final stage of the inventory where it says that the current state of this product is completed. It can't be edited anymore. And this product took 12 minutes end to end from transit till, to get stitched, to get embroidery done, and to again have it come back to the warehouse. It took 12 minutes. And if you look at the product, again, this all of this information is available step by step. And also another thing, that's another valuable insight that you get on the supply chain is, again, now where the inventory is stuck. So that 100 rupees is now no longer stuck in the supply chain because that product is already outside of the supply chain that we are tracking. So now the supply chain, which is 600 first, is now 500. So 500 rupees is stuck in inventory. And if you go to the artisans, you also now have this meta information about the artisans. Okay, like what is the average time that the artisans take to complete the products? How long does it take to stitch? How long does it take to embroider? So that information is also useful in the future when you're kind of distributing the workload. One is sometimes what might happen is that a challenge that we would face is that the artisans might not uh, they might not be that comfortable using these phone inputs. So I've kind of built in an email mechanism. So like, let's say for example, um, the stitcher, he should only be sending 2 or 3 as SMSs. 2 meaning that the stitching is started, and 3 implying that the stitching is completed. But let's say for example, if the stitcher sends 1 as the SMS, then what happens is that this will trigger an email, and that email is basically going to go be sent to all of the admins, etc., saying that, hey, listen, this stitcher tried, they need some support. You can contact them on this mobile phone number, and of course the message can be again modified to suit, so that more information can be given about uh, where the process broke or where they were having problems. So yeah, sorry I had to rush through it, but I think that's kind of the gist of the app.